The government for years and years put us in the fringe bucket.
Tinfoil hat, beans and bullets.
Oh, the Russians are coming tomorrow.
What do I think is going to happen in the UK? A financial recession. The government's going to lose control.
The Americans are the Americans. It's like they've just got a different way of doing it, but theirs all involves click, click, bang, which we haven't got.
I have a crossbow. People will take any opportunity to loot, and if it starts getting to the point where they start pillaging people's houses, whilst you will probably get arrested if you shot them with a crossbow, slightly reassuring to have the option.
Doomsday prepping is the practice of proactively preparing for crisis like pandemics, financial crashes, or nuclear war. It's often associated with fringe American libertarians or gun-toting Christian militias. But given that I've lived through 2 of the mentioned doomsday scenarios already, and the UK is preparing to be wartime ready, I want to know if I'm woefully underprepared, who the UK's preppers are, and if they share the same beliefs as their American counterparts. So I headed to Cornwall to spend the night camping with a group of them at one of their meet-up weekends. And after a battle with a tent, I asked, what is a prepper?
A prepper is everybody. So everybody's a prepper in some way. If you've got plasters at home under your sink, then you're preparing for something that's not happened. We're just taking it to that next level where we've got food supplies, energy, backup energy, things like that.
What are the sort of scenarios that you guys are preparing for?
Pretty much everything. Everyone's different and it depends on your individual circumstances. If you live on a floodplain, obviously you're going to be preparing for floods, but the state of the world, World War III on the media and stuff like that, the government talking about preparing for war with the latest document. So it's kind of an all-round being ready for anything.
Me preparing basically for financial collapse because our government seems to be spending so much money, not on us. It's ridiculous. And it's a case of, right, I've got stuff in stores for 6 months a year, and then friends and family. Same kind of thing. Yeah, it's financial collapse and Britain being a bit wibbly wobbly kind of thing. And then you've got the far end of it, like, oh, the Russians are coming tomorrow. Why, have you sent an invite to, kind of thing?
What do you think are the biggest myths or stigmas about preppers?
Tinfoil hat, beans and bullets. It's I think they're all crazy people. The problem is fear sells, and the only publicity preppers have had in the past is things like Doomsday preppers.
America's new obsession is Doomsday preppers.
Yeah. It says it all in the title. And they don't interview the guys that are here, they interview the most extreme people, the people that are out there thinking World War III is happening in 2 days' time.
Obviously, looking at the world at this moment in time, we live an interesting point of history. There's talk, even through mainstream media, potentially of conflict in the world and potentially World War III. And that might involve either biological or nuclear assets being utilised.
I think it was at the Brexit time, and there were all these stories of hold-ups at ports, which would affect the supply chain. And so that got me a bit more interested, and I started looking at preppers on YouTube and got an emergency bag because that made sense, and got a bit of food because that made sense, and it's sort of grown from there, really.
There are some people that take it overboard, especially the Americans.
The Americans are the Americans. They're on the other side of the pond. We speak the same language, but it's totally different. It's like they've just got a different way of doing it, but theirs all involves click, click, bang. Which we haven't got.
And there's no guns here, like in America.
There are crossbows at the moment, although the government want to get rid of them.
Do you know preppers with crossbows?
I have a crossbow. I can't use it because it's too heavy draw weight. I overestimated my strength. To be honest, I'm not sure what draw weights mean. I'm still new with the crossbow thing, so I just need to get a lower draw weight. But yeah, not that I can hit anything.
What sort of thing would you be planning to do with it?
Well, we saw back during COVID when the stores were empty, people were starting panicking, and you get rioters anyway, and people will take any opportunity to loot. And if it starts getting to the point where they start pillaging people's houses, whilst you would probably get arrested if you shot them with a crossbow, it's nice, it's slightly reassuring to have the option.
If the electricity was off and all those kind of things, I think we could survive at least several months.
What do you think would happen after that?
The biggest issue, I would say, would be people knocking on your doors, and if people are hungry, if people are starving, then they're going to go to extreme measures to get whatever they need.
What sort of things do you keep in the house then?
Toilet roll, cat food, human food.
So I'm one of the demonstrators. So this is my third meet this year. I've done other subjects before, but for this particular meet, it is CBRN, which is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. So a Carrington event happened where the solar flare was so bad back in 1870, was it 1870, 1890? Either way, what happened was the pulse hit anything electronic and then overloaded the system.
I jumped into a big rabbit hole called the Carrington Event, which was a solar flare that, if we'd have been today, would have knocked out all electricity. Once I started looking into that, it just ups me more, and I just started prepping more and more after that.
What would this protect me from?
So that will protect you from 99% of all chemicals, depend upon their. So if it's got a very, very high acidity, it's not, because it will just eat through the respirator. And the same if it's a very high alkaline content. So it will protect you from that.
In the US, they've had some like very right-wing prepper groups, like the standoff at Waco and things like that.
They weren't preppers. They were. Number one rule of prepping is don't die. So if you're antagonising governments, if you're making names for yourself like that, you're just not a prepper. A prepper is everybody. You're preparing. You buy car insurance, you're preparing for something that's not happened. You buy house insurance, you're preparing for something that's not happened. If you're going out trying to form some sort of crazy militia, then you're probably going to get what's coming to you at the end of the day. They were not preppers. They classed themselves at the time as survivalists, but surviving is the key word. So if you don't do that, then you're not a survivalist.
We've been tarred with a nasty brush from the US. So as much as I sat and I really enjoyed watching all of the episodes, Doomsday Prepper has given us such a bad name. It's entertainment. What do you expect? It's designed to get people interested. It works on the extremes, not the average person. And what we're trying to do is say, well, we are the average person. I have a day-to-day job. I go and be a boring manager on a day-to-day basis. At the weekends, if I want to go out and do something like this, I can have fun doing this. Mm-hmm. And then in between, that just covers anything else that happens. You don't have to be a global problem for me to go, I need to dip into my preps. I could be ill for a month. I only get 2 weeks paid leave for it. Well, then I've got 6 months worth of food there. I can dip into that.
Do you think the pandemic and the cost of living crisis made or brought more people into prepping?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's where suddenly we had that massive glut of people joining groups.
In a lot of emergency situations, people might turn to the government to bail them out. Why do you think there's a need to be more self-sufficient than that?
Because it's relying on somebody else at the end of the day. And if that help doesn't come, I'd rather my family, my kids all be fed and ready. If it does come, brilliant, excellent, and I'll support it any way I can. But it's putting the trust in somebody else at the end of the day.